There was a time when the sound of steel echoed across America. Entire cities lived by the rhythm of the factories. Men woke up before sunrise, worked with fire and iron, and believed they were building the future. Places like Pittsburgh, Gary, Youngstown, these towns didn't just produce steel, they built America. But today, many of them are almost forgotten. Factories abandoned, neighborhoods empty, dreams buried beneath rust and dust. So what happened? How did America's greatest industrial empire collapse? After World War II, America became an industrial giant. Steel was everywhere, in bridges, skyscrapers, ships, railroads, cars. And at the center of it all stood the American steelworker. These were tough men who worked 12-hour shifts near molten metal hotter than lava. The work was brutal, but it paid well. A factory job could buy a house, a car, and support an entire family. For millions of Americans, steel towns represented something powerful: stability, pride, purpose. In cities like Youngstown, Ohio, the mills never slept. The sky glowed orange at night from the furnaces. People called it the city that steel built. And for a while, it truly seemed unstoppable. But in the 1970s, cracks began to appear. Foreign steel became cheaper. Factories overseas could produce steel at lower costs. At the same time, many American steel plants were old, outdated, and expensive to maintain. Then came layoffs, thousands of them. One by one, factories started shutting down, and entire communities began collapsing. For towns built around a single industry, this was catastrophic. Bars emptied, stores closed, families moved away, and the jobs that once gave men dignity simply vanished. Then came the day many would never forget. September 19, 1977, known in Ohio as Black Monday. On that day, Youngstown Sheet and Tube announced the closure of its massive steel mill. Over 5,000 workers lost their jobs almost instantly. For many men, it felt like the death of an entire way of life. Some workers had spent 30, even 40 years inside those mills. Now suddenly, it was over. People cried in the streets. Some families lost everything. Businesses collapsed overnight. And slowly, Youngstown became a symbol of America's industrial decline. What once looked like the future now looked abandoned. But the real damage wasn't just economic, it was personal. For generations, many American men connected their identity to their work. The factory wasn't just a paycheck, it was brotherhood, routine, respect. And when the mills disappeared, many felt lost. Some towns saw rising poverty, crime, alcoholism, drug addiction. Entire neighborhoods slowly disappeared. In some places, nature began reclaiming the factories themselves. Steel plants that once roared with life now stood silent, like giant monuments to a forgotten America. Today, many of these towns still exist, but they are shadows of what they once were. And yet, for the men who lived through that era, the memories remain: the sound of machines, the heat of the furnaces, the pride of building something real. Maybe that's why these places still matter, because they remind us of a different America, an America that built things, made things, believed in hard work. And maybe, when the factories disappeared, a piece of America disappeared too. Every town has a story. Some were simply forgotten,